Hello, Tri-Cities, and welcome to the 2021 Vote for Business Candidate Forum, the only region-wide business-focused candidate forum in the Tri-Cities, brought to you by the Tri-City Regional Chamber of Commerce. In this forum, you'll be hearing from candidates running for Richland City Council Position 4 at large. I'm Neil Fisher, news anchor with Cap KView. I'm pleased to be with you today. Voting begins as ballots start appearing in mailboxes on October 13th and will continue through Election Day on Tuesday, November 2nd. Thank you for joining us to learn more about candidates' thoughts and positions on issues that impact our local economy and business community. And now a message from President and CEO of the Tri-City Regional Chamber of Commerce, Lori Matson.
Thank you. I'd like to take a brief moment to thank the Chamber's Board of Directors and our Local Government Affairs Committee for their leadership in supporting the advocacy efforts of the Regional Chamber, and especially our sponsors, AYB Drafting, Cascade Natural Gas, and Hayden Homes. The Chamber supports positions that preserve and promote a positive business climate. As the foremost advocate and voice for business, the Chamber leads the region by advancing policies and positions that strengthen business and improve the local economy and quality of life. The 2021 Vote for Business Candidate Forum is designed to highlight how candidate positions integrate with local business priorities. And finally, a very special thank you to our local news partners for collaborating on this project. Your time, talent, and expertise are valued and truly appreciated. Now a word from one of our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Gina Donangelo with Hayden Homes, and I'm excited to be here today. Hayden Homes has been building for over 30 years and is a proud member of the Tri-City Regional Chamber. We are also proud to sponsor the Vote for Business campaign this year. Local elections are important to our business, so please remember to vote. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for Cap KView to support this effort to inform voters about the people who are running for public office. Now to the format for today. Each candidate will have 1 minute for opening and closing statements. The candidates will be asked the same questions. Response time for each question is limited to 2 minutes. Time limit reminders will appear on screen at 10 seconds remaining, and if necessary, when time is up. Since this is a forum rather than a debate, candidates will not be provided rebuttal time. We're now ready to get started. Let's begin by introducing in alphabetical order the two candidates in the race for Richland City Council Position 4 at large, incumbent Ryan Lukson and challenger Ginger Wireman. Welcome, and thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. We appreciate both of you, so if you're ready to go, let's get started. As I mentioned, we'll start with opening statements in alphabetical order. So Mr. Lukson, we'll begin with your opening statement. You have 1 minute.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you for having us for the Regional Chamber of Commerce. We're putting this on. It's a great event. Just tell you a little bit about myself. So I was born and raised in Richland. Went to Richland High School, went away to college to the University of Washington, and then went on to law school at Florida State. And about 10 years ago now, moved back home and started working at the prosecutor's office, where I still am. And I'm a civil deputy prosecutor, and my main role is to advise the sheriff's office in the jail in that position. About 4 years ago, I decided to get involved in local government, and I ran for Richland City Council Position 4 and won. And then 2 years later, had the privilege and honor of being appointed mayor by my peers. And it's been a very tough last couple of years for our city and our state and our nation. And I've worked really, really hard on the COVID response, on making sure that we are being responsible and trying to advocate where we should open up our businesses, but at the same point trying to encourage masking and vaccination of our residents. So it's been a very challenging couple of years as mayor.
Thank you, Ryan. Ms. Wireman, you now have 1 minute for your opening statement.
Hi, and again, as Ryan said, thanks to the Chamber for this opportunity. I'm running because as a Richland resident, I think that we have a great town, but there are things that could be better for more people. I came here with a single mom when the community was very affordable and safe, and we no longer have an affordable community. For most people, there's no housing affordability, and I would prioritize affordable housing, small local businesses, and downtown revitalization. And I would make decisions based on public input and the latest data from the respective organizations, be it the Transportation Safety Administration, others. I was not born here, but I too am a Richland bomber. And I think the fact that I live somewhere else, went away to college, and then came back and chose to be here really says a lot about my sense of community and my desire to be in this community. I didn't just stay here. True leaders help each other rise, and I believe we're all stronger together.
Thank you. Let's now move right into the question and answer portion of the forum. A coin toss just prior to taping has determined that Ryan will answer the first question. Subsequent questions will be alternated. So with the first question, what can the city council do in regard to tax and regulation that will promote our region as a smart place to do business?
Well, from a taxing perspective, I don't think most people realize what city council does. We don't really have a large role in taxing. Most of that is set up by the state. As far as our sales tax, there of course is no income tax. We recently actually passed a resolution for the Richland City Council stating that we opposed a local income tax, where there's some debate as to whether you can impose that or not. But as a policy statement, we are not in favor of it. We do decide whether we're going to take a 1% increase in the levy rate for property taxes, and we try to diligently look at that and decide whether we should, if we have any capital improvement projects that we want to utilize those funds for. But we don't really have a large role in taxation. As far as regulation, we try to do everything we can to obviously level the playing field, but we also want to make sure that we're nimble and that we do things that promote businesses. Just one example, when COVID hit, we relaxed a lot of our restrictions on outdoor dining and parking. So a lot of businesses could reach out into the parking lots and set up their tables and chairs and try to adapt to the changing times. So we try to find places where we can regulate in a fashion to promote businesses and like I said, level the playing field.
Ms. Wireman, your turn to answer the question now.
Well, I think with existing taxes, obviously you need to be as careful and responsible in how you spend them as possible. And I think corollary to that is not giving developers cut rate deals on purchases that the city does with city-owned land. And also the regulations are really important, but I do think that being able to evaluate things on a case-by-case basis, in not literally, but sometimes one size does not fit all. So forcing a small local business to have a certain amount of parking spaces when it is highly unlikely that they would ever have that many customers on their premises at one time is burdensome. And those parking spaces actually cost a lot of extra money. And I think that really engaging the public in discussions that are important about the roads or other city amenities so that you can decide whether to do that levy adjustment that's allowed, but with public input, is really critical.
And so we'll move on to the second question now. And Ginger, this question will be started with you. The current labor shortage impacts local business. As a city council member, what can you do to foster, attract, and retain talent to build the next generation workforce?
Well, one thing, and I credit the Tri-Cities Chamber for working on diversity issues, both through my Tri 2030 and their forums. But we still have some issues with diversity. And I think that we need to recognize that we can be friendlier and make workers feel like they want to stay here. I am concerned about talent that comes in, for example, for summer internships and is housed out in North Richland with nothing to do and is just left out there. And they come from all over the country, and I bet they don't apply for jobs after graduation. Regarding the current labor shortage, I'm seeing people whose kids are looking for jobs, entry-level jobs, and then I'm also seeing businesses who are saying there's no workers. So I don't know, when you're talking about the Dairy Queens and McDonald's that are saying they're having a hard time hiring, I don't really know what's going on there. But I think, we often hear people want their kids to be able to move back here. And one of the most important things is going to be diversity and inclusion. and having a thriving arts and entertainment economy so that there's something for young adults to do. Young adults usually can't afford to play golf or buy a jet ski. I know Richland has a very high median income, but there's still plenty of service workers, administrators, and other people that don't make $77,000 a year. So.
And Ryan, now is your turn to answer.
Yeah, from my perspective, really what we can do is make this an attractive place for people to live and play. And for me, one of the main reasons why I ran for city council and something that I've been actively working on is improving our downtown. And that includes our vision of expanding our sidewalks and making more walkable, bikeable, making tree-lined streets, really making it something beautiful that we can all be proud of. And I think the idea of infill is something that I'm very passionate about. And since I've been on city council, we have our first residents living downtown in Richland, which is something that we're really excited about. There's a couple other developments that are on track. In the next couple of years, I think we're going to have over 1,000 people living downtown. And I think that's just going to expand from there. And what that does is it really revitalizes our local businesses. And I think it really is something that our youth want. They want to be able to live downtown, to be able to make it, to have something that's affordable, and to have something that really that they can walk and bike and is close to their workplace. So that's really the vision that we're trying to implement as a council. And I think probably in the next 3 to 5 years, the majority of that is going to be implemented. We're still seeking some funding opportunities for some of the road improvements that we're making. So I'm really excited for what's to come for our small businesses. And I think that if we build a city that's attractive, that's going to retain talent, and more people are going to want to live here. So that's something that I'm working on.
Thank you for answering the second question. And we'll start with you for the third question. As a city council member, what specific investments by the city will you champion to encourage diversity of business and economic growth in Richland?
Yeah, I think what we can do is kind of what I said before, which is make targeted investments in, well, I guess specifically out in the 1,340 acres that we have up north. One thing that we're doing is trying to get funding to bring more broadband and sewer and electrical and all the utilities out there, so we can actually develop that property and get some of the large projects like our neighbors in Pasco just got. I was very excited to see that they just have a new Amazon fulfillment center going out there. And so for us, we've done a lot in that area. And one thing that I worked with recently is Patty Murray and Marie Cantwell's aides. We were able to secure funding in we're attempting to secure some of the infrastructure spending plans to really bring those utilities and things sooner than we otherwise would. And so really it's just about making a thriving economy that is diversified. And one thing I'm proud of that we've done as a city council over the last couple of decades, even well before I was on there, is really diversifying our economy beyond just Hanford, because someday the cleanup will be done. I know it doesn't seem like it, but someday it will be. And we need to make sure that this community can survive that. So everything we can do to encourage different and broad diversity in our businesses is something that I would support.
Thank you, Ryan. Miss Wireman, your turn now.
Well, Richland's at a really interesting position because we own our own electric utility. And one thing that I think would be really great to do is partner with our Pacific National Lab and actually implement and apply some of the green energy technologies. And I believe in this next administration, we're going to be refocusing some of our local research on green energy. And it would be nice if we actually tested and implemented that here in our own town. And I think the city could look at the regulations and either put, solar on our city buildings, for example, as just a leading kind of showing the way. Another thing that the city can do is actually encourage affordable housing by making arrangements. There is a law that says cities can surplus public land for the purpose of affordable housing. And so we have public properties, and if we worked with developers and sell them, for example, the towers on Jadwin, we made a deal and gave them the parking around that at a cut rate. It would have been great to require 20% of the units to be below market rate. to ensure that there's actually affordable housing for these people, because not everybody is a Hanford worker or a Cadillac employee. I totally agree with Ryan about the infill and the downtown living, and that's really going to encourage new businesses in our downtown and help diversify the economy. But the housing crisis is real, and most starting workers cannot afford to live here with our one-bedroom rents running over $1,000 a month in Richland, or not in a very nice apartment where many people would choose to live. So I think we really need to solve the housing crisis as a priority, and the city can put things in place to encourage affordable units. That's not scary. That's just slightly below market. And I think that's really critical.
Thank you. And so we'll move on to question 4, the final question. The My Tri 2030 Regional Vision Project is a community-driven effort to drive collaborative action. How do you see the cities collaborating, coming together to solve shared problems and advance regional initiatives? Ginger, we'll start with you.
Well, one thing we talk about a lot is taxes. And when you have 4 different municipalities, including West Richland, have 4 different parks departments, 4 different street departments, 4 different whatever, you have 4 different very highly paid administrators. And I think that we should really look at maybe increasing the public facilities district role, unwinding the disparate public facilities district, and being able to have a metro style government that can put forth ideas that would support the My Tri goals for arts and entertainment and business development. I think, I don't think we should be one city, but I think there are things we could do better together if we combined our forces. And the arts is clearly a huge thing. Diversity and inclusion is clearly a huge thing. Recognizing that we're on stolen land is actually important. And we see that everywhere else in the country. I'm involved in international organizations, and people acknowledge the former landowners, the indigenous people that lived here. And I think that when we talk about inclusion, we need to actually take those tiny steps to acknowledge those sorts of things and recognize all of the people in our community, regardless of race, socioeconomic status, religion, and really set a tone that we are welcoming and love everybody in our community and believe everybody in our community provides value, regardless of whether they're members of the country club or just like a walk in the park.
Thank you, Ms. Wireman. Mr. Lukson, your turn now.
Yeah, this is something that I'm very passionate about. And I'm on the Regional Public Facilities District, where we've discussed these ideas for several years. And at this point in time, we're waiting for Pasco to go out, is trying to get their own water park, and that was delayed due to COVID. So we're still kind of looking to implement the regional vision. I did actually, a few weeks back, meet with the head of the Arts Commission, as well as the WC Tri-Cities Chancellor, and discuss some different opportunities potentially in looking at a performing arts center. So these conversations are definitely going on in the community, but it's a big haul. And I think it's really about finding the right partnerships between some of the different public and private entities, getting all the right people in the room. Like I said, obviously I've tipped my hand. My interest is in a regional performing arts center. I think it's something that our community needs. With over 300,000 people in our region, the fact that we don't have something like that, I think really is unfortunate. I think it would attract more and more people to our community, and something that we need, but we need to get the right partners, and we got to get the right people in place to implement it. So it's something that obviously with COVID has kind of been, like a lot of things, has been pushed off track a little bit, but if elected, it's something that I hope to work on in the future.
All right, thank you both. This closes the question and answer period. We'll end the forum with closing statements. Since Mr. Lukson opened, we'll begin closing statements with Ms. Wireman. Ms. Wireman, you have 1 minute.
Well, thanks again, Tri-Cities Regional Chamber, for this opportunity to reach out to the public. I'm a public engagement practitioner by trade, and I think all of our cities could really take some guidance from what the Port of Kennewick has been doing in the past around Vista Field and other projects. It would be great to have a regional public engagement activity that supported the efforts of My Tri 2030 and got out there on Saturdays and did pop-up activities in the parks and found a way to engage people where they are. everybody, not just, the people who can show up to a 10 o'clock meeting at the chamber offices. And I think that I have proven leadership in this community. I've built a lot of things, the Taft Hill Greenway, I've helped with the Hanford Reach, and I've even started a permanently affordable housing project, which we just launched, and it's COVID, so we haven't gotten very far, but Tres Rios Community Land Trust. And I just hope you'll vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wireman. Mr. Lukson, your closing statement.
Thank you. Yeah, I would say it's been one of the greatest privileges and honors of my professional career to serve on the Richland City Council in the last 2 years as mayor. And I feel that my ability to connect with different organizations and people really is an asset to our community. I have great relationships with the chamber, with Visit Tri-Cities, with TriDec, and with all of our community neighbors and partners. And really, I tried to take a collaborative approach. I believe that to be a good leader, you have to listen. You have to admit when you make a mistake, and you have to learn from those mistakes, and be willing with an open mind to change your opinion on things. And that's really what I tried to do as a city council member and as a mayor. And with that, there's a lot of projects that we've implemented in the last few years. We've initiated construction on 2 fire stations. We've obviously finished the Dupatel Bridge. I said the other day in my city council retreat, I've never been more excited for Richland, and I hope that you'll vote for me and I can continue to be a part of that.
All right. Thank you both, Ginger Wireman and Ryan Lukson. Thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us for the Tri-City Regional Chamber's 2021 Candidate Forum, featuring candidates running for Richland City Council position 4 at large. As we begin the countdown to Election Day on November 2nd, please remind your friends in Richland to watch, share, and get out to vote. You can find this video and other candidate forum videos on the Tri-City Regional Chamber website at www.tricityregionalchamber.com. Again, thank you to the Chamber, Cap K-View, the candidates and sponsors, Cascade Natural Gas, AYB Drafting, and Hayden Homes. And a special thanks to all of you for watching. This is Neil Fisher for Cap K-View Local News, reminding you to get out and vote.